Hey bass players, I'm going to cover in this video the scales that you'll need to do if you're doing a level 3 or 4 NYSSMA solo. Just so you have an idea of what is expected, because I'm going to show you the scales I would select, but you're welcome to select any that you are comfortable with. You have to play 1 2-octave scale, and that one is guaranteed. They're going to pick that one, so pick one that you know you can do. And then 6 1-octave scales. And of those, they will pick 2 for you to play. So in total, you're going to play 3 scales. You will definitely play your 2-octave scale, and then the 1-octave scales, of the 6 of them, they will pick 2. And of course, you want to make sure that you can play all of the 6 scales as well, because any of them are fair game. So with violin and viola, there are all sorts of tricks that you can do to learn your scales. Maybe not necessarily know the key signature, but just be able to do a finger pattern and play the scale correctly. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work like that for bass. So my recommendation is that you pick scales that you know the key signature to, or that have easier to remember key signatures. And then you work from there. You either memorize the key signature, which is what I would recommend, or you could memorize the finger pattern. Ultimately, memorizing the key signature will help you in the long run as a musician. So that's what I would recommend. So let's start with that 2-octave scale. We're going to start with the G major 2-octave scale. To me, this is the easiest of the 2-octave scales to do. First, because you should already know the lower octave. If you're doing a level 4 or 3 or 4 NYSSMA solo on bass, you should know a G major scale. So the first octave should be familiar. It starts 2 on E. By the way, the key of G, just to review, has only F sharps in the key signature. So F sharps, everything else is natural. So we start with G, 2 fingers on E, A, B, 2 fingers C natural, D, E, 4-finger F sharp, and open G. That's your first octave. 2 octaves means we have to go to the next G. So we will keep going, and this whole second octave is on the G string. So we just played open G, then we'll play 1 finger A, 4 fingers B. We're going to shift 1 finger on C natural, 4 fingers for D, up to 1 for E, 4 for F sharp, and then your last G, your highest G, is actually in the harmonic spot here, so I would do a G harmonic. So climbing up the G string to play that second octave should be pretty easy to remember. Open G, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4 harmonic. So to me, that's the easiest of the 2-octave scales, because all it is 1, 4 climbing up and then the harmonic. You don't have to memorize anything else funky there. And then of course you do have to go backwards. Okay, so you do harmonic, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1. Okay, so that's the 2-octave. You are guaranteed to have that one picked. You're going to have to play that. Moving on, I then picked scales that have sharps in the key signature, just like G. Your next 3 have 2 sharps, then 3 sharps, and then 4 sharps. So they each add a sharp. So next is the D major scale. Again, if you're doing a level 3 or 4 solo, you should know the D major scale. It goes like this. F sharps and C sharps in the key signature. I'm going to go ahead and assume that everyone is comfortable and familiar with that. My students play a D major scale starting in 5th or 6th grade for every single class. So I'm going to guess if you're doing this level, you can do a D major scale. The next 2 scales have 3 sharps and 4 sharps, okay? The key of A major and the key of E major. But the nice thing is they have the same finger pattern, they just start on a different string. So this is a case where I would say pick one to memorize, and then if you can't fully remember the other one, you can just know that it's the same key signature. So let's do A first. So the key of A major has F sharps, C sharps, and G sharps. The G sharp is the important one to remember because that means you cannot play open G. Okay, so when we go through this, we have A, one finger for B, 4 for C sharp, D, 1 for E, 4 for F sharp, and here's where it's a little strange, it's a low 1 for G sharp, and then you can either do 2 for A, or you can just go back and do 1, 1. It's up to you. I'm going to do 2 for the A, and then G sharp, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, B, A. Okay, so then if you move on to the E major scale, it's starting again on an open string. The key of E major has F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. This is the one that tends to throw students off, having a D sharp. But if you remember that it's the same finger pattern as the A major scale, when you get here, you'll say, I had a low 1, and low 1 on the D string is D sharp. So A and E major have the same finger pattern, same fingering, just start on a different string. So those are all the scales with sharps. Our 2 octave G major, 1 sharp, F sharp. The key of D major, 2 sharps, F sharp, C sharp. A major, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. And then E major, F, C, G, and D sharp. Okay. 3 more to go. Now we're going to move to the only key signature that doesn't have sharps or flats, the key of C. Okay, this one is an easy one to pick because you just have to remember to play all the notes natural. There's a teeny tiny shift in it, but otherwise it's pretty easy. So you start with 2 fingers, C on the A string, D, E, F natural, 2 fingers, G, A, 4 fingers for B, because 4 on G is a natural note, B, and then up just a tiny little shift, a half step to C natural with 4 fingers. So you can see I went from B to C, tiny shift, and then backwards. Okay, that's the key of C major. The last 2, just like A and E, these last 2 scales have the same finger pattern. So if you can remember one of them, you can remember both. To me, these are the 2 hardest ones. These are the ones that you might need to spend a little bit more time learning. These are the keys of F and B flat major. These have flats in the key signature. The key of F has 1 flat, that is B flat, and the key of B flat has 2 flats, B flat and E flat. They have the same finger pattern, so if you can learn one, then you can do both. These, both of these scales are in half position, so you're going to be back here in half position the whole time. Okay, so the key of F, I'm going to do that one first. It has a B flat in it. I start, instead of putting my first finger in the regular spot on the E string, because that's F sharp, I'm going to go back to half position and put my finger on an F. Sounds like that. And here's how it's going to go. 1 for F. 4 for G, because when you're in half position, 4 plays G. Open A. This is, I'm still in half position, so 1 is B flat, 4 is C, open D. Now, because I want an E natural, that's 2 fingers on the D string since I'm in half position, and it should land on your regular first finger sticker. 2 and 4 plays an F natural. So half position the whole time. Let me play that again. 1, 4, open, 1, 4, open, stay in half, 2, 4, and back down. Okay, and finally, the last one, thanks for sticking with it the whole time. I know this is tough. The key of B flat major. There's the one that has 2 flats, B flat and E flat. but it is the same finger pattern as the key of F because it starts low 1 on the A string this time. So you might have noticed anytime you start a scale on the same finger but a different string, it's the same pattern, just one string over. So B flat, key of B flat, starting low 1 in half position on the A string. 4, open, 1, 4, open, now 2, 4. All right, so those are your 7 scales. Make sure they are memorized. Remember, they can pick any of the scales that they want, so you should know them all. Remembering the key signatures will help you. Remembering the 2 pairs that have the same finger pattern should also help. So good luck learning these, and when we have a lesson together, we will go over them again.